Hello everyone, back in here in lovely Ironforge with Arcane after seeing Frost and good cleaving capabilities. We're going to look at Arcane, and which is the god of single target, but sometimes can be very good at AoE as well, depending on if the RNG gods like you or not. So basically, this spec is RNG. RNG, RNG, RNG. Let's have a look at it. We're going to look at stats first. And so there are two ways we're going to need to look at this. Your main stat before tier 18 is going to be Mastery. Why? Mastery Mana Adept increases all spell damage done up to X% based on the amount of mana the mage has unspent. So basically, the more mana you have, the more damage you do. Pretty simple. This is the core of Arcane's gameplay. It's going to revolve around burst phases where you burn your mana, go back up with evocation, and then conserve phase where you're going to stay above 90% something mana, waiting for your next burn phase. Next spec stat is haste, because obviously you cast more spells. Then crit and multi-strike are pretty much equal, and versatility lasts as usual for a mage. After tier 18, especially with the Arcane trinket, you're gonna want more haste, but a lot of haste, because the two set, every arcane missile has a 35% chance to create a time anomaly, which is a small, an image of Sylvanas, Arthas, Tyrande, or Arthas. I said Arthas twice, sorry, so must have forgotten one, but anyway. And the fourth set, every time you have a hero out, which is out for 10 seconds, you have a 12% damage increase. So, on top of that, the damage multiplier here, it's a damage multiplier. It's not additive. So if you have 2, it's not exactly 12%. It's 1.12 times 1.12. So it's rather closer to 25%. If you have 3, it's not 36%, it's closer to 39-40%. So damage multipliers for the win, basically. And this is the core gameplay of Arcane. This is, you want to stack the more damage multipliers as you can, and you have tons. And this is how you're going to play this mage. You're going to have the 4 set that's going to apply this. You're going to have a legendary ring that's going to apply this. You have the Tome of Shifting Words, the class trinket that increase the damage sometimes. Potions, arcane power, crystal, etc., etc. If you get everything to align correctly, you get massive damage increase. So it's basically up to the gods, because you have to spawn images and it's completely random, because arcane missiles is random, and then 35% on top of that is random. So basically you're praying for a lot of images when your burst starts, and then you'll do crazy amounts of damage. But as a result, the variance between two different pulls on Arcane can be very, very different. And we're going to see there's going to be another variance on top of that, which affects that. So, not very funny sometimes, but that's life. Let's look at talents. Talents is pretty much the same as Frost. The first 4 tiers are almost identical. It's pretty much situational, although Ice Flows is always the better one, if you can. Level 75, Unstable Magic is good once you have 4 piece, because you're going to be casting much faster with haste. And otherwise Supernova. Level 100, usually Prismatic Crystal is best. Overpowered is 2 RNG dependent. Arcane Orb is not that bad, but it's not good damage, and if you want AoE, just play Frost. Or even Fire. So, the talents are pretty much the same. Glyphs. You can glyph Arcane Power until you have the Archimon trinket. If you have the Archimon trinket, remove that, absolutely, because you want... because the Arcane Power increases the damage and reduces the cast time of Arcane Blast, you want to have as many burn phases as possible. Hence you want to unglyph that especially since it aligns very well with the prismatic crystal. Glyph of Slow is mandatory, I feel, because it helps in slowing ads, especially on K-Rock, for example. Glyph of Blink to blink further, or blink or rapid displacement to have 2 charges. The rest is absolutely cosmetic. Glyph of Momentum, we talked about this already. It's not mandatory, but it's very good quality of life increase. All right. Now, let's look at how we play this bad boy. A lot of people say that this is a dumb spec, and it is a dumb spec to a certain extent. But there's actually quite a nice skill cap involved in playing that class, playing that spec, sorry. Because although the premise is very simple, burn your mana, then stay over 90%, when it's an actual boss fight, you see the difference between a good arcane mage and an average arcane mage is one that can squeeze a few more arcane blasts here and there because he knows, oh, I can do a few more now because there's going to be some downtime and mana is going to regen anyway. Because you never want your mana to cap. The goal of this spec is to have your mana in the conserve phase stay between 90% and 100%. Okay. So let's look at the mechanic of the class. Arcane Blast, primary damage spell. It's your filler, or your nuke. Damage increased by 50% per arcane charge, and mana cost increased by 100% per arcane charge. Basically, if I do one blast now, it's gonna cost me 3k mana. But if I do one at 4 charges, let's just have a look. Okay, let's wait till I'm capped. Okay, I'm capped. One arcane blast is 15k mana, which is almost 10% of your mana. So be wary of that because it deals a lot of mana. So since that is going to burn a lot of our mana, we don't want to sit around not casting, so we're going to have 2 mana control tools. One is Arcane Barrage. It dumps your charges. And the other one is Arcane Missiles, which creates the charges, but you want to use it only at 4 arcane charges. Because during Arcane Missiles, your mana regen continues to tick. So it is a mana control tool in a way. Evocation is a DPS cooldown because it recovers you recover mana. So and mana is a DPS tool here. So this is how you play. This is the core. These are the core spells, sorry, of the spec. How do we play this? So I took Incantus Flow not to be bothered here, so we don't have a Rune of Power. It's not a problem. So if you don't have tier set, if you don't have the Prophecy of Fear trinket, which is the trinket from Mannoroth, I'm gonna demonstrate the rotation as if there was no Mannoroth trinket. So basically, you pre-pot, you pre-cast Arcane Blast at 2, you go up to 4 charges. As soon as you hit 4 charges, Arcane Power, Crystal, Ring, cooldown basically, and you burn your mana until 40% of your mana, 30%, depends on your haste. So here I'm burning. Now I evocate. Usually it takes the whole of my thing, and then so you should only let 2 ticks. Yeah, I left more. I forgot about those. So then you go back to 4 charges, and then you go into conserve phase. Now conserve phase, I'm gonna cast missiles as soon as I know I'm gonna go below 90%. Here I can cast 1 more, and then Arcane Missiles to go back over 90%. I actually cast 2, and you see with the cast, before this cast of Arcane Blast I would cap. Here with 1 cast of Arcane Blast I prevent from capping, 1 more missile. Same here, and then here I would go below 90%, so I dump my charges, and conserve phase continues like this. I go back up to 4 charges. Here only 1 missile, 1 blast, 2 missiles here.
All I ever wanted was to study.
Notice I never cap. Here we go. Here I can only do 1 Arcane Blast and I dump because I don't know if I'm gonna get something and I need to keep casting. Ah, Jaina, that was the last image. So the conserve phase, you need to train yourself because this is the ideal scenario. You never want to cap mana, and that's very, very important. Very, very important. Just to demonstrate the damage that it could do. Okay, 120k, that's actually pretty low because I didn't track my faucet. So conserve phase, never cap mana, never go into under 90% unless you know in the next 30 seconds there's going to be some downtime and you're going to be able to regen mana for X reason. Iron Reaver is a great example of that. So now, Prophecy of Fear, the opening is going to change. Let's see how that trinket works. It's the Doom Nova trinket, and the name is very appropriate because this trinket breaks the game. Basically, it makes Arcane the best single target spec, potential single target spec in the game. So your direct damage spells, or direct spell damage, sorry, has a chance to apply Mark of Doom for 10 seconds. Every direct spell damage you do against the marked target triggers an explosion for whatever amount of shadow damage. So basically, if the target is marked, every direct damage you do is going to trigger the mark, and the damage is not going to be split. You can see where I'm going with this. If you get a mark during adds on Iskar and you channel your missiles into it, you'll get 5 ticks of the damage. So it's going to be 50k multiplied, at least 50k multiplied by the number of targets. So anyway, with that you can break 400, 500k damage, DPS, sorry, on a certain phase. It's completely fucking broken. I'm sorry to say that, but it's completely broken. So now this changes our opener a little bit. There are two ways we can do this. One way is the scrub way, and it's what I did to familiarize myself with this trinket. Is basically you want the trinket on your crystal for your burst, and that's the ideal situation. No, it's not the ideal situation, sorry, but it's the most practical situation. So what you could do, before the pull, you actually pop your presence of mind, and when there's the pull, instead of precasting Arcane Blast or casting Arcane Blast, you pop your crystal, Arcane Power, and you start damaging the crystal. And see, there's the mark. And now every time I have a missile proc, I'm going to dump it into the crystal.
This city will be
I proc twice here on the crystal. And then you continue damaging like this. And then, of course, you continue your burn on the main target, but there's no mark, so this is back to regular burn and regular conserve rotation. Okay. Now,
the Forsaken.
it's going to be different
Anyone who stands in our way.
if you do it a bit different, which is doing the proper way. The proper way, and I would say, which something that would yield the best results actually, there is a way to get double Mark of Doom damage. And this is by proccing the mark on the boss and then dumping your crystal. And the way you do this then, the mark, when you hit it on the boss, it's going to damage once because it procs the mark. Then it's going to damage the crystal with the Mark of Doom. Not proccing the mark on the crystal, but damaging the crystal, which is going to send back the damage to the boss. So it takes 2.3 times the damage. 1 because it hits once, and 1.3 because it hits the crystal. My crystal is going to come back up in 5 seconds here, so we're going to demonstrate that. And the little thing that's a bit tough here is you want the Arcane Blast to go into your crystal, but you want the missiles to go on the marked target. So I'll demonstrate that. So you always go up to 4 charges first. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. So here the mark hasn't popped at 4 charges. In that case, I dump my crystal, Arcane Power, and then back to normal burn. I think my trinket is on the internal cooldown, but that's alright. It hasn't procced. So here's the way you want to do it. So you want to dump your missiles into the marked target at all times. So if it's the crystal, you burn the crystal. And if it's the boss and not the crystal, then you burn your Arcane Blasts into the crystal and the missiles into into the boss, not the marked target. Let's talk gear a little bit. So you want haste. So head either Tyr or the head from Archimond. I don't know if you have set the head. It's a 50-50, I believe, before for the stats. Choker Forbidden Indulgence here because it gives a ton of haste. Pilot's Pauldrons is a good alternative because it gives exactly the best stat. The only problem is that it drops off Reaver, but the stats are gorgeous. A lot of haste and mastery. Cloak of Edius Unity, haste, ton of haste, so that's the go-to. Haste and Mastery for the chest from Mannoroth. This is the best tier set that we have, so this is the one you're gonna upgrade first after weapon and trinkets, of course. There is no good wrists in the game right now, so I chose a craft for the wrists. Hands from Socrathar. There's a discussion on you could offset this one as well because crit and multi-strike are not exactly our best stats. This is a mythic one from BRF, haste and mastery. You can have a craft alternatively. Legs mastery and multi-strike from Gorefiend tier. This is the best in slot. This is actually a BOE, so you can get your hands on this. There's usually a ton of them in the auction house. They cost around 10-15k gold. A crit and haste ring, traitorous counselor. This is from Council, I believe. Legendary ring, Archimon trinket, and Prophecy of Fear, the Doom Nova. So Arcane needs a bit of a training once you get the 4 set and once you get Prophecy of Fear, but it's a fun spec. It seems dumb a little bit sometimes, but it's actually a very fun spec. There's lots of burst, lots of possibility, and you can see some glorious numbers. I remember doing, I think, a 1.2 million damage Arcane Blast on the crystal on Kilrog, because everything was aligning perfectly. So this is a very, very fun spec. Let's try this once more, the one with the prismatic crystal and the mark. So you start by casting 2 Arcane Blasts, 1, 2, and then it's on the boss. So now I Arcane Blast, and I go up to 4 charges on the crystal, and then on the boss, you're gonna dump my missiles, and then back on the crystal to dump my charges. This is how you should do it, if it happens this way. And this way, you know, if you look at Doom Nova, you're gonna have 8 on the boss, and then the rest on the prismatic crystal. Notice I did not do a lot of damage to the prismatic crystal with Arcane Blast. I casted only 3 or 4. So these are the counts of the Doom Nova, which does 600k here without any buffs. So you can imagine how it works with and how much damage it does with others. Okay, this ends our Arcane guide. I'm gonna try to do a fire guide soon, even though fire is not the best spec in the world right now, but it's still very much fun. And I started to play rogue in raids now, so I'll maybe bring a few rogue guides and sub in combat. Thank you very much, and see you next time.